waiting for one person.
Uh, 2022 Leadership Long Beach Candidate Forum. I am Sean Devereaux, the Executive Director of Leadership Long Beach. It's such a pleasure to welcome you to this beautiful facility. And to extend that welcome a little bit further, I'd like to introduce my friend and colleague, Dr. Peter Kariva, the CEO of the Aquarium of the Pacific.
Thank you, Sean, and welcome home, Sean. You know, Leadership Long Beach hit a home run when you recruited Sean away from the aquarium. I just want to say welcome to your aquarium and your theater for tonight, and what a terrific program you have. And you know, I'm a news junkie. All the talking heads are saying democracy is in decline, democracy is in decline. Well, not here, not in this theater, and certainly not in Long Beach, so let's get on with it.
Thank you, PK. Thank you very, very much. It is a little bit like a homecoming for me. I spent 22 years of my professional career here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, and now it is such an honor to be back as the Executive Director of Leadership Long Beach and helping to provide opportunities to inform, activate, and connect our community with the candidates that are going to be leading us into the future. And I'd like now to introduce Monique De La Garza from the city clerk. Thank you.
A little vertically challenged. Let me lower this. So thank you everybody for coming, and I'd like to take a few moments to share some information about the upcoming election. The following contests are going to be on the ballot this June, on June 7th. Mayor, City Attorney, City Auditor, Prosecutor, Council Districts 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, and LBUSD Districts 1 and 5. So local elections are as important as national elections because they decide so many things that affect us in our daily lives. From public transit to how our tax dollars are spent, to school boards, to roads, to parks, the list can go on and on. So when you vote in local elections, your vote counts a lot more. 1 in 5 local voters vote. So with that kind of impact, every decision and every vote really counts in local elections. Next slide, please. Here are some key dates for the upcoming election. You should be receiving vote-by-mail ballots as of today, May 9th. They're all going out. Sample ballot booklets have been mailed out and will continue to be mailed out through the 28th. May 23rd is the last day to register to vote, and that is to become a registered voter. You can register to vote at any vote center on election day, but you will be considered a conditional voter if you do that. May 28th is when 6 of the 31 vote centers in Long Beach will be open for 11 days, and the remaining vote centers will open, the remaining 25 will open on June 4th for 4 days. You can choose to vote in person using the new ballot marking devices, or you can choose to use the vote-by-mail ballot that every voter in Long Beach will be receiving. Next slide, please. So we also have 17 drop boxes for your vote-by-mail ballots in Long Beach, and they're all over Long Beach. However, you can use any drop box in LA County, and you can go to any vote center in LA County to drop off your ballot or to vote. That is the new and improved voting method in LA County. You can vote anywhere. So if you are out and about in LA during any time during that 11-day voting period, please feel free to use any vote center in LA County or use any drop box in LA County. I encourage everybody here to share why voting is important to you with your friends and family, and to encourage them to vote on June 7th. If you would like any more information about the election, you can visit our website at longbeach.gov or the county's website at lavote.gov. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Monique. And now it is my pleasure to introduce my board president, the man who was instrumental in getting me hired for this position. I am eternally grateful for that opportunity. And the man who led Leadership Long Beach through two of the most difficult years in our organization's history, through COVID, and then reimagining ourselves on the other end. Please welcome Drew Schneider.
This feels fantastic. Just the opportunity to be together in person once again. Leadership Long Beach is all about connecting people. As you see from our mission and vision behind me, at the end of the day, these conversations are why Leadership Long Beach exists. Whether they happen around the kitchen table, whether they happen in the classroom, or they happen in forums like tonight, informing, activating, and connecting individuals is how we empower the next generation of leadership, and we ensure a brighter tomorrow. Next slide, please. For those of you who are cans tonight, I will give you a quick hint. You may want to take a look at this list behind me. I was hoping for a joke there. We are a principle-based leadership organization. In addition to being a tongue twister, what that means is at the end of the day, we are committed to these 14 tenets, these 14 ideas that drive our existence as an organization and everything that we do. Each of these is an important attribute that drives how we approach each problem we face and all the challenges that are in front of not only Leadership Long Beach, but the community as a whole. Next slide, please. If you would, I'm going to ask everyone in the room tonight to join me in reading our Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Pledge. So follow along. The vision of Leadership Long Beach. Thank you so much. These words were not easily sought. These words were hotly debated. These words are hugely meaningful to me and drive our approach to how we continue to move the organization forward. I ask that you keep each of these words in mind as we discuss some very challenging issues in our community tonight. And with that, I have the pleasure of welcoming our two moderators, two individuals I couldn't be more excited to have leading this conversation. Robin Perry has commanded the courtrooms in Long Beach, commissions, and a variety of important festivals and important activities across the city, and I think he'll be able to hold court here tonight. Susanna Sneem is similarly a community leader that has truly inspired a generation of folks to engage in some of the most meaningful dialogue out there while maintain that level of respect and dialogue and respect for one another that we will all see tonight. With that, I'm going to quickly stage right and let the festivities begin.
Thank you, Drew. Leadership Long Beach, we're very, very lucky to have you, and we're lucky to have all of you here tonight. We're excited to begin our forum. There's so much really going on in our world today, in our country, in our local community. Effective leadership is really, really important. We invite you to think critically about the issues we face and how the people we vote for can meet the challenges of the day. We have learned through Leadership Long Beach that community engagement is the first step to a better awareness of how to make a difference in the world we live in.
And I just want to thank the entire team of Leadership Long Beach alumni who put this forum together. So let's give them a round of applause, please. And thank you again to the Aquarium of the Pacific for hosting us in this beautiful space. So thank you again. And thank you to the City of Long Beach City Clerk's Office to remind us of how we can get engaged and the key milestones for us to be able to vote on June 7th. So thank you again for those reminders. This is the third forum that the Leadership Long Beach has sponsored, having done our first in 2014. How about a quick round of applause for that accomplishment? And thank you, everybody that's part of Leadership Long Beach that really helps put this forum together, but also to volunteer for the class days for our adult and our youth programs. So thank you all. So before we start with our first group of candidates, I'd like to take care of a few housekeeping items. First, if you can take out your cell phones, and if you can put it onto off, silent, or you can put it on vibrate. And then also, we ask that you hold your applause until the end of each panel session. Thank you for your cooperation.
Tonight, we'll be hearing from candidates running for the Long Beach Unified School District Governing Board, School Board, City Attorney, City Auditor, City Prosecutor, and Mayor. This forum will follow a format where all candidates will be asked to make a 1-minute opening statement. Once each candidate has completed their opening statement, the moderator will ask questions. In all, each candidate will be asked 5 questions. The first 3 questions were determined by Leadership Long Beach alums. If anyone in the audience wants to submit a question for consideration, get a card from one of our wonderful volunteers, write legibly, and hold up your hand so one of our volunteers can pick up your question. Please focus your question on the race for school board because that's what we're going to start with. Following the question and answer session, each candidate will then provide a 1-minute closing statement. Remember, this is a forum, not a debate, so no rebuttal statements will be permitted.
Once again, I'll ask the volunteers that have the cards if you can raise your hand. That way everybody can see you, the volunteers with the cards. Perfect. So if you would like to write a question for the Long Beach Unified School District, please raise your hand and they'll hand you a card and then we'll collect the questions from there. Thank you. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the candidates for the Long Beach Unified School District Governing Board. From the District 1, Sharifa Batts, Nubia Flores, Maria Isabel Lopez. From District 3, Dr. Juan Benitez. And District 5, Diana Craighead and Melissa Putzcutler.
Before starting with District 1 and District 5 candidates, we'd like to provide an opportunity for Dr. Juan Benitez to say a few words. He currently serves on the school board as president and is running unopposed. Dr. Benitez, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much, everyone. I guess I'm the lucky one to start us off tonight. Thank you to Leadership Long Beach for organizing this. Thank you to you all for being active participants in our democracy. My name is Juan Benitez, and I'm your current Board of Education president for LBUSD, and I'm running for re-election. As was mentioned, I don't have anyone running against me, but I don't want to take our democracy for granted, and that's why I'm here with you tonight. I am a 25-year experienced educator at Cal State Long Beach. I'm a parent of a student in our district. She's sitting right up there with her mom. And I come from a Mexican, hardworking immigrant household. I know firsthand what the power of a high-quality public education can provide, not just for individuals and families, but for our communities. I'm a product of that, from kindergarten through my doctoral degree at UCLA. I'm proud of the work that we've accomplished these last 4 years that I've been serving on school board, but we have a lot more work to do. LBUSD is a strong district. I think we can even make it better. We have 67,000 students right now. We're the 4th largest district in California. 2/3 of our students, however, are on free and reduced lunch. That means they come from poor households. 88% of our students are students of color. Many of them experienced a lot of trauma. these last 2 years. We have over 10,000 students, I'm gonna repeat that, 10,000 students on individual education plans. That means they're students with disabilities. We're at a crossroads right now in our schools. It took a lot out of our system to provide not just education the last 2 years, but we were also serving as a health system. So my priority in the next 4 years is to build on those things that we've done well and to really focus our efforts around equity. For those 67,000 students.
Dr. Benitez, if we can just wrap up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For those 67,000 students, I ask you to partner with me, with our district, to do right by our most vulnerable students, our students with disabilities, our students of color, our low-income students, and that's why I'm here tonight to remind you, we have a great district, but we can do better, and together, I know we can do that. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Dr. Benitez. And I would like to invite the candidates for District 1 to the stage. And as you are coming up, I would like to remind you that you will have 1 minute for an opening statement, and we'll ask each candidate 5 questions, followed by a 1-minute closing statement from each candidate. Candidates, a yellow card will be held up when you have 15 seconds, and then a red card will be held up when you're out of time. So I'll have you look forward. You'll see the beautiful CJ right in front of you. She's going to be holding the cards for you. And once the red card comes up, I will close, and we'll move on to the next question. Great. So the school board is the governing body for the district. Voters elect 5 members by geographic area to serve 4-year terms. Tonight, we're focused on the contested races in District 1 and District 5. We'll start with District 1 in the order as it is listed on the LA County website with Sharifa Batts. Ms. Batts, you'll have 1 minute for your opening statement, and you can start your opening statement now.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Sharifa Batts, and I was born in Long Beach and have been married to my husband Cameron for over 27 years. And along with my mother, Hattie Herring, we have been very active in the community. We are the proud parents of 2 daughters. One is a social worker, and the other was recently crowned Mrs. Long Beach. They both attended Longfellow, Hughes, and both graduated from Long Beach Poly, where I was the PTSA president, held many other positions in addition to hosting teachers' luncheons. I was the secretary of the Advanced Placement Collaborative, where I worked with Dr. Felton Williams to increase the number of students of color in AP and honors courses. I have over 20 years' experience as a volunteer and an advocate in the city of Long Beach, as well as in Long Beach schools. And with my 4 grandchildren about to enter the district, I want to ensure that the work of the district to promote excellence and equity is fair for all.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Nubia Flores, you have 1 minute for your opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Nubia Flores. I'm a parent advocate, parent educator, an organizer, and I'm an LBUSD parent myself. I come with 11 years of experience in parent organizing and parent advocacy in our school communities. I have been part of helping parents organize with PTAs, school site councils. I've been a board member and an active member of our district's community advisory committee. And I've worked, and I've been part of the team that has helped write the district's first historic equity policy, Equity and Excellence. I've also been part of the parents, a group that organized the inclusion resolution and helped community advocates pass the disability resolution. I'm running to help improve equity for all of our students. I'm also endorsed by the Teachers Association of Long Beach, the LA Federation of Labor. Is that it?
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you. And then next, Ms. Maria Isabel Lopez, your opening statements can start now.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for having me here this evening. My name's Maria Isabel Lopez, and I am a career educator. I've spent over 25 years in the classroom. But before I tell you what I've done in the schools, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Long Beach. I attended schools in the west side of Long Beach. I attended Garfield, Stevens, and graduated from Poly CIC program. I continued my career, my educational career and journey at UCLA, where I received my BA degree and continued on to the Harvard Graduate School of Education, where I completed my coursework there. I've been teaching for over 25 years in multiple capacities. I've worked as a teacher, as a teaching and learning specialist, as an educational consultant. I have been a principal. I've worked with high-achieving schools and schools that have been underserved. I know what we need to do to move schools forward. I am running for school board because I want to make sure we have higher academic outcomes, we have safe schools, and we have transparency and accountability in our school district.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Nice to meet everyone, and so we'll move on to our first question. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question. The first question will be for Ms. Batts. What lived experiences, both personal and professional, have prepared you for this position?
So I recently completed my doctorate at Pepperdine University that focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion on boards. I focused on the unique human and social capital contributions of women and minorities and how they positively influence boardroom decisions and firm outcomes. I also completed 3 board leadership certification courses so that I could have a very clear understanding of board governance and looking through a board lens when it comes to finance, budget, as well as strategic planning. I have over 22 years at the ports working with the longshoremen and over 15 years as a safety director in charge of safety. So making sure that the safety of all longshoremen was my priority over the past couple of years.
Thank you. Ms. Flores, you can answer next. What lived experiences, both personal and professional, have prepared you for this position?
Personally, I have a son in middle school, a 6th grader, and in LBUSD, when a child has disabilities, you can start preschool at the age of 3. So for 8 years, I have been navigating the IEP process, and as I've been learning that, I've been organizing and teaching parents also how to navigate the IEP process and help advocate for their students. Personally, I've learned how to work with teachers and the IEP support team that's made up of speech therapists and administrators, and it's a really hard process. I have taken what I've learned and passed it on to other parents through my day job at local nonprofit Long Beach Forward these past 2 years, especially during the pandemic. Working with parents to teach them how to advocate for their student in a world that went completely virtual. Most of my work has been around advocating for students with disabilities, increasing equity and inclusion in our schools. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. Ms. Lopez, you're next. Let me repeat the question. What lived experiences, both personal and professional, have prepared you for this position?
Thank you for that question. So I am a product of the LBUSD. I think the district served me well, and I do want to say I started my educational journey as an English learner. So I did navigate the system. The district served me well. I was able to graduate from a specialized program into an honors program in college and into graduate school. I have 25 years of experience in and outside of the classroom. I know what it takes to move a school forward, a district forward. I've worked with students, I've trained principals, I've worked with districts, and I have the experience needed to run for school board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Let's move to question 2, and we'll start with Ms. Flores. What do you believe are the 2 most positive contributions you can make to public education on the school board? Ms. Flores, you can start.
I'm a product of public school education myself, and when I started school, I didn't know English, and I've taken that experience, and this is how I've learned to advocate alongside our monolingual Spanish-speaking parents. I have that lived experience as well as the experience of being a parent of a child with disabilities. That really teaches you how to negotiate, how to learn to work with your administrators and with teachers. It's that those are kinds of the skills that are needed to help build coalitions, which I've done as a parent organizer in our school communities. I also think that my passion for our local politics as well. Part of the work that I have done is help to teach parents how to get involved, not only in our local community organizations, but also getting involved in our school board.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. Ms. Lopez, you will be asked the question next. What do you believe are the two most positive contributions you can make to public education on the school board?
Yeah, so first of all, we currently don't have a K-12 educator on school board, and I am the only K-12 educator experienced running for school board, so I think I bring a different perspective. I'm seeing things from a different lens. I'm also the proud mother of 2 graduates from LBUSD, and I'm still the mother of a high schooler in the district. I'm also the proud wife of an LBUSD educator, so I am invested in our school system. I want our schools to continue to do well, and I think I bring the experience that other candidates may not be bringing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Ms. Batts, your time is now, and now we'll repeat the question. What do you believe are the two most positive contributions you can make to the public education on the school board?
So we are better together. As an all-American athlete who participated in the Olympic trials for the 400-meter hurdles, building strong teams is a strength, and that's something that we're going to need coming out of the ramifications of COVID. We're going to need to partner with the community, parents, teachers, staff, and students. We're going to need to be able to identify gaps and fill those gaps with the appropriate individuals. So building strong teams, and next I'm results-oriented. I can quickly identify where there are gaps and analyze data to come up with solutions by partnering with members in the community, as well as students, teachers, and staff, because that's what's going to be needed in these upcoming years.
Thank you, Ms. Batts. And we'll move to question 3. But before I move to question 3, if you do have questions for the school board, please raise your hand and we'll give out those cards. We're going to be sharing those questions after question 3. So the third question, first to start, will be Ms. Lopez. It is, trusteeship is one of Leadership Long Beach's core principles. If elected, what will you do to ensure a better future for our next generations?
What I will do to ensure a better future for our generations, I will make sure that we are accountable to our students, that everything that we are doing is centered around students. I want to make sure that we are making inroads with our community and talking to our educators, to our parents, and to our community members, and bringing their input into the decisions that we're making in regards to our budgets, in regards to the work that we are doing in our schools with our children. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, Ms. Batts, you will answer next. Trusteeship is one of the Leadership Long Beach's core principles. If elected, what will you do to ensure a better future for the next generations?
First, being a champion for all students to pursue excellence, not watering down any academic agendas that, and curriculums, holding the students up to the highest standard, and making sure that there are equal, equitable opportunities for each and every student when it comes to academic programs, when it comes to sports, arts, music, because sports, arts, and music, they instill a different foundation for those students. You know, you have students who are dedicated. They have to show up every day. They're committed. They're able to pursue excellence outside of the academics, which makes them show up to school every day to want to participate in our academic programs. So being a champion for all students.
Thank you, Ms. Batts. Your turn, Ms. Flores. Trusteeship is one of Leadership Long Beach's core principles. If elected, what will you do to ensure a better future for the next generations?
Considering what our students have gone through these past 2 years, what the pandemic showed was that there were huge inequities in our schools. What I would advocate for is an increased parent involvement, pathways to help community organizations come in to help support our students and succeed, and also neighborhood associations that want to be able to support their local neighborhood schools. Making sure that every student has access to academic programs, and all of this being done by going school to school and assessing what each school individually needs. In Area 1, the needs of students at Hamilton is going to be very different than the needs at Hughes Middle School. I think what is needed now to help move our students forward is someone with strong ties in our community, and that's what I'll bring.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. And now we have moved on from our set questions, and now we will have the questions from the audience. So thank you, audience members. Once again, you'll have 1 minute to answer these questions, and each of you will get a different question. Okay. So first up is Ms. Batts, and this is your question. What's your vision for working in partnership with the Superintendent Baker and her team?
My vision is making sure that we are all collaborating and that everyone has a voice. Hearing the teachers, the staff, hearing from Superintendent Jill Baker, and then going beyond that to the actual community, because that's what's going to support the superintendent and any mission of the school district. You have to be able to, again, partner and have a strong team that incorporates the school, the students, and the community.
Thank you, Ms. Batts. And next will be Ms. Flores. Your question is, it is the district's job to keep our children safe. In light of the ill effects of the pandemic, please describe your leadership role to ensure student safety and academic growth.
For starters, as a school board member, I would continue to advocate and support the hiring of more school counselors, and also advocating for school counselors to be allowed to do counseling. In my work in the community these past 2 years, what I saw were that some families were touched by the school their connection to the school counselor was the first time that they were being touched by a mental health professional or any kind of a mental health support. And right now, our school counselors are juggling multiple sites, and what we really need to is these school counselors to be able to implement the social and emotional programs that we keep advocating for. As a school board member, I would also lean in on our community organizations to come in and help support our students reacclimate back to the reopening of our schools.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. And then the question for you, Ms. Lopez. What will you do to ensure that our children are reading at grade level by the age of 9?
Thank you for that question. So super important that we have our students literate, that they can read, that they can write, of course. So what I will do is make sure that we are moving forward with policies that include making sure we have resources in the classroom and that our teachers are adequately trained to work with our students, our struggling students, and also our students at our grade level and our high achieving students. So working to make sure that we have more training and more resources for our classrooms and for our faculty and staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. We'll do another round of random questions from the audience. And the first to start will be Ms. Flores. So your question is, how would you engage, collaborate, and listen to community members and district stakeholders?
This is what I do for a living. I bring together our community organizations. I did it during our pandemic. After the death of Mr. George Floyd, our community really wanted to come together to address systemic racism and equity in our schools. And I, along with other community organizations, Board Member Benitez, Black Lives Matter Long Beach, as well as our labor partners, TALB and CSEA, helped organize forums. I have the skill set to help bring and facilitate these difficult conversations that are very much needed as we continue to move forward in reopening of our schools.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. And the next would be Ms. Lopez. Your question is, as a board member, how would you support schools and instructional improvements through an equity lens?
Sure, I think that this is very correlated to the resources that we are providing our schools. And certainly the schools that are working with underserved students, we ought to be making sure that we have resources, additional resources there for our students and additional resources and training for our teachers. So as a school board member, I will elicit input from our teachers, from our faculty, from our staff, from our community, and also from our students, because they can tell us what we need in the classrooms in order to help them achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. And the last question will be for you, Ms. Batts. Your question is, if Long Beach Unified School District requires all students to take algebra in 8th grade, how is the district going to support struggling students, particularly in tough budget years?
This is where the partnerships come in. So when you're able to partner with the community, partner with the city college, you get mentors, you get tutors. It's going to be on a volunteer time during a tough budget year, but there are nonprofit organizations who will provide these resources. We're going to have to get crafty when it comes to identifying nonprofit organizations, partnering with retired individuals, other schools, so that we can provide the equitable resources that will be required for those who need it.
Thank you. And now we have our closing statements. Remember, you have 1 minute, and we'll start with Ms. Lopez. You can start your closing statement now.
So I am a career educator. I intend to retire an educator. I am running for school board because I believe I bring the experience, the knowledge that is needed to help move the district forward. After that pandemic, our students suffered academically. The achievement gap was widened, and I think I bring that different lens from working in the classroom, training teachers, training administrators, working with school districts to continue to move the school forward and to help close that achievement gap. I am a Long Beach native. Well, I was born in Mexico, but I was raised in Long Beach. I am product of the district. I am a parent. I'm a teacher, and I'm the wife of an educator. I believe we need someone in the board that comes from an educational background.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Next will be Ms. Batts.
I strongly believe in equitable opportunities and pursuing excellence. I'm a team player, and I will bring a high level of commitment and discipline and include all students. Collaboration with students, parents, teachers, and staff, and partnerships in the community will be needed to address things like the glaring academic achievement gap and increase parent involvement. Professionally, as the Safety and Environment Vice President, keeping the workforce safe during COVID was my #1 priority, and it would be my #1 priority for students as well. We cannot predict the extreme variants that could possibly be hitting us in the near future. so we must be prepared.
Thank you, Ms. Batts. And lastly, Ms. Flores, you can start your closing statement now.
School board member is elected by the community and supposed to be a representative of the community, and I think that our time right now calls from someone from the community. LBUSD has great educators and educators that are career professionals, but what I think we saw in the past 2 years is community asking to be part of the process. I will advocate for equity in education for our students, increase and support for language access, something that we saw that there was a huge need during the pandemic, continuing to support our safety and wellness programs, and more importantly, something that the community has advocated for these past 2 years is transparency and accountability. And I think that we do that through increasing parent involvement and partnering more with our community organizations. I hope that you will vote for me, Nubia Flores, on June 7th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. Let's give everybody a round of applause from District 1. You may be excused. Thank you so much. And then I would like to invite the candidates from District 5 to the stage, please.
Good evening. Let's move on now to the race for School District Governing Board 5, where we have 2 candidates. Let's welcome Ms. Diane Craighead and Ms. Melissa Pitts-Cutler. Let's start with opening statements. Remember, you have 1 minute. Candidates, a yellow card will be held up when you have 15 seconds remaining, and a red card when you're out of time. And our timekeeper is right in front of you holding the red card. We'll start with Ms. Craighead. Opening statement, please.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me tonight. I'm Diana Craighead, and my husband and I have 3 children, all born and raised right here in Long Beach, and educated in the Long Beach Unified School District. I have been a member of PTA since 1993. I joined Long Beach Council PTA in 2003 and served as president in 2007 to 2009. I've been a member of the Board of Education for the past 10 years, serving as board president 3 of those years, and I'm also a delegate for the California School Board Association, which gives me an opportunity to advocate in Sacramento on legislation like increased funding for education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, Ms. Pitts-Cutler, your opening statement, please, 1 minute.
Thank you. I am a youth advocate. I migrated here to Long Beach and obtained my first job at 19 at Jefferson Middle School. The connection to the students and the diversity of this district, I fell in love with. I am very fortunate to know my instinctive gifts, and I have applied them throughout my life. I am a youth advocate. I may continue in that capacity as school board to bring a different lens to how we see students, how we connect to students, and how we connect people. I have a master's degree in social work, and I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And I have worked in the community of Long Beach, along with many other communities throughout Orange County and Los Angeles County, as a parole agent with the Division of Juvenile Justice. I'm here to represent and advocate for youth, for school educators, for the district and the community.
Thank you, Ms. Pitts-Cutler. Now let's move on to our questions. We'll start with you, Ms. Pitts-Cutler. At Leadership Long Beach, we believe in a set of principles that are essential to all great leaders. On the table in front of you is a list of those principles that we embrace. Please select one that resonates with you and tell us why.
The very first one, integrity, resonates probably the loudest for me. I have advocated for people. I have had to uphold justice in positive ways and in challenging ways. And I have done my utmost to walk my life in a manner of integrity. And I would honestly challenge anyone to check my life and my record in that. I believe that every system designed to serve people needs to be operating in integrity, which to me means transparency, honesty, openness, equity, fairness, etc.
Thank you very much. Ms. Craighead, same question on the table before you. There is a list of principles that we embrace. Please select one that resonates with you and tell us why.
Well, the one that stood out to me is compassion. And to me, that's important because in a job like this, in the role as board member, most of the work that we do, it all comes down to caring. It's about not just caring for your community, but caring for the students and having compassion for those you work with. It's one of the reasons that led us to the equity and excellence policy, because we have compassion for all students, no matter where they come from, no matter what their backgrounds are. It's a matter of caring. And our superintendent, I'd like to tell you, is all about compassion. And I feel that we are on the same page with that because it comes down to having a big heart. It gets you through an awful lot. Thank you.
Before you we're going to stick with you, Ms. Craighead, for question number 2. What lived experiences, both personal and professional, have prepared you for this position?
Well, that's kind of easy in my case because I've been serving on the board for 10 years, so I have a lot of experience with the school district. And on a personal level, all 3 of our children have attended Long Beach Unified Schools, and I served on PTAs, and I served as a volunteer in the classroom at each of the schools that our kids attended. And that gives you a lot of experience. Also, being involved in PTA gives you the experience of working with others, getting along with others and building relationships, that type of thing. And I feel that that's invaluable. But mostly, having spent the last decade working as a board member, I think says it all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pitzcutler, same question. What lived experience, both personal and professional, have prepared you for this position?
Thank you. Well, I will say, interestingly, ironically or not, my professional experience came before my personal experience relative to this question, in that I have worked for the Division of Juvenile Justice for 27 years. I have worked as an advocate for the courts for dependency, children in foster care. I have, sorry, that was volunteer, not work. I have worked as a social worker in foster care and for the delinquency courts, Los Angeles County. Had a long career before I made a decision to start a family. Personally, I have 2 stepsons, 2 daughters, and a grandson. 4 of those 5 are Long Beach Unified School District products, grandson currently attending. And I have advocated for my daughters through poly and sports, and had to collaborate with a myriad of people in that last endeavor.
We're going to stay with you, Ms. Pitzcutler. What do you believe are the 2 most positive contributions you can make to public education on the school board?
I neglected to mention that I am currently a substitute teacher with Long Beach Unified School District and have been for the last 7 years. And in that capacity, what I believe I bring is a keenness to what is current, what students are experiencing, what educators are experiencing, what administrators are struggling to do because our world has experienced so many challenges currently. I love the substitute experience, and people think I'm crazy, but that's because I love young people and the environment, and I take on a challenge and I run with it, and I believe that that internal eye of the pulse of what's going on makes a big difference.
Thank you. Ms. Craighead, we're coming back to you. What do you believe are the 2 most positive contributions you can make to public education on the school board?
I have found that for, not just for students, but for adults, everyone wants to feel valued. That students do better academically, personally, if they feel that somebody cares about them. So for students, to give them vision and hope, those things are probably the most valuable gifts you can give them. And also adults, everybody in this room, we all just want to feel valued. And I think if your work starts from that point, starts from the heart, and you value other people, and you develop relationships built on mutual respect, I think that's the way to go.
Thank you. And Ms. Craighead, we'll stick with you. We'll go to our audience questions. What is your position on remote versus at school learning if another epidemic occurs?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. What is your position on remote versus at school learning if another epidemic or pandemic occurs?
After the last 2 years we've been through, that question just sends shockwaves through me, because it's been so tough on everybody, tough on the teachers, tough on the students. We have learned that the best form of instruction is in person. So I would like to avoid going back to online instruction at all costs. We have protocols in place to keep children safe. And so having said that, you know, the safety of the children and the adults in the classroom are of the utmost importance, but we also have to abide by state mandates, health department mandates, that type of thing. But bottom line, I would like to avoid that if we can, but we'll do what we have to do to keep everybody safe.
Thank you very much. Audience question for you, Ms. Pitts-Culture. Teacher morale is low. What will you do to improve teacher morale between faculty members and the principal?
Oh, ironic question for me, because the school that I consistently sub at has a phenomenal principal. But I can echo what she does and see how it impacts her staff, and they do amazing work in spite of many challenges currently, and that is that she literally knows everyone. As a social worker, what Diane just said about the value of individuals, spoken like a true social worker, touching my heart. That's what this principal does. She knows her staff, and you would almost think that she knows all her students, but she also targets the skills of her staff to the needs of her students. And as an administrator, you need to know how to do that. She's an amazing example to follow, and I think that she mitigates a myriad of problems by doing that.
Thank you very much. And we'll stay with you, Ms. Pitt-Cutler, for the next audience question. Currently, there seems to be a lack of communication between the LBUSD leadership and board. How do you intend on partnering with local leadership
teachers, but we are recruiting from our high schools as far as teachers of color, and not just teachers of color, but male teachers of color, because we need to boost those numbers even more. Representation matters. And for a student coming through the schools, it's important for them to have teachers that look like them. And we never want a student of color to go through their educational experience without having role models that resemble them. So it's something that I already support. It's something that's being done, and we also collaborate with Cal State Long Beach in those efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. It's time to end with closing statements from each candidate. From District 5, we're going to start with you, Ms. Piscutler. Time for your closing statement. 1 minute, please.
I am a taskmaster, not for others, but for myself. You give me a task, you give me a challenge, it's going to get done. This is a brand new frontier for me, so my being here is a bit of courage in and of itself. But I am a person that gets things done, moves things forward. Even if you just take a local accomplishment, which may or not be familiar to anyone in the room, but because it's Long Beach, when my daughter started at Long Beach Poly, there was no booster program in place for the volleyball program. And we took it from deficit to $10,000 plus in the bank when we left. We, meaning myself and the other boosters. I get stuff done. I have a keenness for children and youth and families. I am a social worker by mind and profession, and I know how to mediate and collaborate and get things done.
Thank you very much. Ms. Craighead, your closing statement, 1 minute, please.
Thank you. This is a tough job, and these are very challenging times. And I understand the commitment and what it takes to get this job done. I will use my experience as a community leader and a board member of the past 10 years to do what needs to be done. And I'm all about building relationships. These things take time. It takes mutual respect and supporting staff. That also takes quite an effort because you need to be able to go out to school sites to make visits, to support school activities, school events, to show staff that you are there and that you support them, and also to prioritize student achievement and wellness. And I consider myself to be more of a public servant than a politician, so these things come easy, unlike this forum.
Thank you, Ms. Craighead. We're going to leave it there. Please join me in thanking Ms. Craighead and Ms. Piscutler, our candidates from District 5. And you are excused. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone, for your attention and support. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Please stick around for our citywide candidates forum coming up promptly at 7 p.m. We're going to get started with the city attorney. So all of our city attorney candidates be ready to go. Please take time to stretch, use the restroom. As a reminder, our restrooms are located behind the facility, behind the auditorium, and please return to your seats in 5 minutes. Thank you.